Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum dear students. Our current session focuses on writing competence and LTM. I hope and expect by the end of this session you would be able to understand the significance of writing competence in LTM context. Well, my dear students, writing competence is about composing an effective piece of written work to fulfill a specific purpose. Whenever something is written, there is always a purpose behind, or there is always a function that is to be performed through that. And writing competence is the ability to produce, that piece of writing that would fulfill the purpose or the specific needs. For example, when writing an entertaining and engaging story, students adopt a narrative style and rhetorical moves are used in order to fulfill the requirements of a specialized context, that is the classroom practice or the take-home assignments or in the classroom examination. So depending upon the context in which it is written, depending upon the purpose or the function that this text is going to serve, etc., the narrative style or any other style of writing is adopted. Following basic academic discourse skills are needed when it comes to achieve effective implementation of this. Paraphrase and direct quotation. Well, the students need to have the ability to paraphrase. Whatsoever they have read, whatsoever they have understood, when it comes to writing, to be able to write it in their own words. This is what would be called paraphrasing. And how to differentiate between paraphrasing and direct quotations. So, for example, when they are writing a narrative, there are dialogues between two characters. How to give those dialogues directly as the word of the mouth of the character in inverted commas, and to keep a difference in them. This becomes example. So, for example, when character A says to B, I like the color of your dress. And in response to that, character B says, I really like the way you appreciate it. Now, this use of I and you by both the interlocutors in the dialogues, when these direct words are to be changed into indirect speech, and a narrator is narrating in, for example, a narrative piece of writing, then that narrator has to paraphrase and has to write that, for example, that character A appreciated the colors of the dress of character B, and in response to that, character B also responded that she liked the way it was appreciated by him. So, these changes of the pronouns and this, modification in the way of presentation, for example, this is what matters for an L2 learner when it comes to a shift from a direct reporting to, a narrative where it is indirectly reported and paraphrased. Well, as far as lexical variety is concerned, it is an important part of the successful writing because it can make an essay appear sophisticated and interesting. Lexical variety refers to interesting word choice or effective use of vocabulary in writing according to Ferris 2014. However, my dear students, lexical variety alone is not sufficient. It is insufficient for creating a good essay. There are a lot of other things. There are so many other aspects that need to be taken care of when a good piece of writing is to be produced, such as the contents, such as the development of the idea, the quality of the argument, correct use of grammar, and other mechanics such as the organization of the materials or the sequencing of the materials in an essay. Another important aspect of writing competence is the use of passive voice. Teachers typically advise the students against the passive voice in writing, and they advocate a rather purest form of the use of active voice. Now, in academic writing, the passive voice can be preferred for some reasons depending upon again, the purpose of writing. Appropriate use of the passive voice can enable writers to focus on a specific object for its importance, away from the actors who play a secondary role only. So, it's the issue of foregrounding and of backgrounding, in fact, in any narrative, for instance, where the choice of active or passive voice needs to be made accordingly. Structuring and developing argument at the macro and micro levels is another important aspect of writing competence in a language classroom. Apart from developing argument at the macro level, the Tolman model of argumentation sheds light on how to structure arguments at the micro level as well. These elements, according to this model, include number 1, claim. That is a statement that the arguer wants to show is true. Number 2, data. That is the evidence offered in the support of the claim. Number 3, warrant. This is an assumption that underlies the claim. Fourthly, backing. That is the evidence of for the warrant. So kind of providing a proof for that, backing it with the help of some proof. Qualifier. Qualifier is something which is added that in some way limits the applicability of the scope of the claim, generally through the use of adjectives, for example, I would say. Reservation, it is a statement or a situation which, if true, renders the claim invalid. And by the way, all these aspects are given by Tolman, 1958. Well, teachers need to explicitly teach their students how to structure and develop an argument at both the macro level, at the higher level of the text, at the overall totality level of the text, and at the micro levels of the essay, at the smaller levels of the organization of the essay.